I know that there were those 2 suicides in this engineering college, and it breaks my heart. I mean, if the kid wants to be a DJ or even a bartender or even a housekeeper for that matter, and if that's what gives him happiness and that's what he or she is good at, let the kid be. Hey you guys, welcome back to another day of my life. First thing first, I know it's a culture shock from all the limited clothing that I wear to this. I was actually shooting a sari haul and I was like, why not? And also what we are doing today is something I hope will help a lot of you because it's to do with children. So you know my nephew, he lives with me. He's 13 years old and I literally have been deciding for him in terms of his school, what kind of subjects, what kind of activities and all of that ever since he was in 5th grade. And I'm very glad that my sister gave me the opportunity and she kind of allowed me to take these decisions for her son and just stepped aside because she felt I was smarter. Thank you, sister. Today we talk about what are the factors that I considered when I chose a school for Ronnie for his 8th grade. So let's look at what those factors were. Even before I get into that, Ronnie is from Assam. I am from Assam. I have been in Bangalore for the last 20 plus years. So Ronnie spent his first initial years in a regular private school in the small town that we come from, which is Chakalabandha in Assam. Long word, so don't break your head on it. But as soon as I got married 2.5 years ago and I could now start planning my finance exclusively for Ronnie, I immediately wanted to shift him to an international school in Assam. I honestly wanted to bring him to Bangalore first, but I knew that it was going to be such a culture shock for him to move from a small town to like a big city all of a sudden. So I wanted to make the transition a little more smooth for him. For that, I felt the best way was to put him in an international school in the same state first so that he starts getting comfortable of how an international residential school can operate, and it was a different board, so on and so forth. But going back to business, what are the factors that I considered when I chose a school for Ronnie? The first thing that was the school ranking, the rating, where does the school stand on a world level, country level. That for me was extremely important. Number 2, I was looking at the facilities the school was going to provide. What kind of facilities besides education in terms of sports, in terms of any other association that my kid might be interested in. Number 3 was definitely the quality of teachers and staff that they had in their school. So I definitely took a lot of time to understand what kind of teachers, are they all Indians, what kind of experience and education do they bring in, because trust me, I was a great student at school in terms of maths and science, but when one of my teacher changed in math, I went through the most difficult part because I couldn't understand a word of what my new teacher was teaching. It's extremely important for children because sometimes it's not about what the IQ of your children is, it's also how they are grasping or how well they are able to comprehend, and that depends a lot on how the teacher is and experience and all of that. Number 4 was definitely infrastructure. I wanted to send Ronnie to a school that kind of motivates him and makes him realize that life is bigger than he thinks and makes him more ambitious. And infrastructure is important because the school cannot provide the courses or anything without a proper infrastructure. Extracurricular activities was definitely something else that I was very keen on. I'm one of those parents who does not push the kid towards just education. If I realize that Ronnie is not intellectually capable of achieving a certain grade, I'm not going to make his life difficult by making him study for 16-17 hours and make him do something that he might not be interested in. What if tomorrow he wants to be a part of United Nations? What if tomorrow he wants to be a footballer, or he just wants to play tennis, or he might want to just do other things besides studies, academics? Fee structure was definitely one of the factors I considered, and I'll tell you why. Dude, education in today's world is so expensive. I'm sure that I would have finished my entire education, elementary school, middle school, senior high, college, masters, everything within maybe 5 lakhs Indian rupee. In today's world, I got the shock of my life because there are a couple of international schools in Bangalore who charges up to 25 lakhs a year from middle school. So you're spending good 2 to 3 crores by the time your kid is basically finished senior high. That's crazy. Definitely one of the other things was the location and commute. But for Ronnie, he's going to be a boarding child, and we will talk more about that, of why I took that decision. I wanted him to be closer to me, so his new school is 30 minutes away. The other thing was the education board. That was very important for me, and we are going to break down every single point that I spoke about, how I decided the right board. And I still don't know if this is going to be the right board for Ronnie. Making decisions for someone else is the most terrifying feeling. But I think I made the right choice in terms of the education board. School policies. I wanted stringent, no bullying, no violence. With Ronnie's last school, and I'm not going to name the school because I don't really want to demean anybody. It's a great school. But we did have instances where there were complaints against things, bullying and stuff like that. And I don't think it was handled the way a parent would expect, and which is why he's no longer in that school. And any special concerns, you definitely want to look at a school and try and think about how they treat anybody who might be differently abled or a child who might just not be a regular kid. Do they have ability to treat every children in their style, not one size fits all? These were the factors that I considered before I chose Ronnie's school, and we're going to go through each one of them and finally tell you what school I chose and why and what. I'm no expert. I did this with my boy and I'm just sharing that experience. So please don't hold me responsible for anything that might not fit into your criteria, right? Every kid is different. First thing I considered was Ronnie's needs. What is my child's need? Are they somebody who learns more by doing? Or are they somebody who performs better when they are challenged or when they're in a healthy competitive state? Or are they somebody who really needs no focus and is an autopilot? So you gotta really figure out how your child is. For Ronnie, I felt he has amazing potential. I mean, come on, genes. Born with the right genes, you guys. He has the potential to do bigger things when he is put in a bigger place. The city has more exposure. He needs that exposure right now for the kind of future planning that we have for him. Clearly, he needed to go to a school which had students from all over the world so that he is used to different cultures. I just don't want Ronnie to be a topper in the class. I definitely want him to enjoy his soccer. He loves his lawn tennis. Since he was going to be in a residential school, I was looking for a place where everything is within the compound, that he doesn't have to keep going for these different classes and it's just a whole mess. 3 preferred schools that I chose for Ronnie in Bangalore. My very first choice was Stonehill. It's one of the best international schools that Bangalore has today. I know that it's very expensive. If you are able to afford it and your kid has gotten through their entrance exams, nothing like it. I vouch for that institution because I know that they do great things. Number 2 was the International School of Bangalore, commonly known as TISB. And my third choice was Canadian International School. Now I will tell you why I finally chose one of these schools. You need to figure out what is it that your kid is going to do in the future. And I think 8th grade is not too early to start identifying. Ronnie is extremely good at academics. He's always between a 95 to 98 percentage so far till his 7th grade. I don't know how things are going to be now that he's a teenager. As long as he's not falling in love too often, I'm pretty sure he can continue that. From a very young age, we kind of kept telling Ronnie about UPSC, which is basically the civil service examination in India. I always wanted to be an IAS or an IFS officer, but I couldn't pursue it. When I discussed UPSC with Ronnie, he was very keen from a very young age. So I feel like we can still push him towards a civil service. And I'll tell you why I'm telling you all this. So UPSC was a career that we are considering for Ronnie. He was confused too. He's a kid. How the hell is he going to know what he's going to be when he becomes big, right? It's too early to ask the kid. That is when you take help from the experts. And there are a lot of institutions today who helps you. So one of these institutions was Mindler. I think I'll just get the right name. So what they do is the Mindler assessment and career counseling helped me so very much. So first they take the 2 performance report cards. Then they make your child write this psychometric test. And then they assign you 2 very professional career counselors who comes on board and counsels the kid in terms of what subjects he's good at, what kind of stream he should start thinking about, what are the steps he needs to take to build credentials. So because it's a very competitive world, you guys. I know it's very unfair for the kids, but that's how it is. Gen Z crowd is like nuts. Crazy, competitive, fast. I felt the need of doing the career counseling part at 8th grade, and I'm very happy I did it. I'll tell you why. If your kid is not good at science or math, the last thing you would want to do is put him in a science stream or push him towards a medical field or an engineering field or anything on those lines. So I took the Mindler test just to figure out what is the right board for us. Because if Ronnie was going to be pursuing an UPSC career, the right board for him was a CBSE board. But I had a plan B for Ronnie where I thought I wanted him to apply for Ivy League colleges as and when he's finishing his PUC. So for that case, we needed a different board. So if your kid is going abroad after their 12th grade, after their senior high or high school, the best board is an IB board or an IGCSE board. So I was confused whether I send Ronnie to an IB board, but if I'm going to send Ronnie to an IB board, if he chooses to be an UPSC tomorrow, he will have to restudy the whole CBSE curriculum because IGCSE is more global and CBSE is more country specific and civil services exams are extremely country specific. That is how Stonehill was cut off immediately because Stonehill only provides an IB curriculum. Stonehill is not going to work because I'm going to keep both options open for Ronnie, both UPSC or if he wants to settle abroad tomorrow. And I knew that I wasn't going to send him to CBSE alone because what if? And the best board for that was IGCSE. It is a global board, it is globally recognized, but at the same time it is not as extreme as an IB board. So I felt IGCSE was the best option. So the two schools that were left were the International School of Bangalore and Canadian International School. And Ronnie did not get through the entrance exam of International School of Bangalore. And these schools you just cannot use influence or anything. Then luckily he got through in Canadian, and I couldn't be happier because when I visited both the schools, I did see an attitude problem with students from the, TISB, don't come after me. This is my opinion and my observation of what I have seen. I really felt TISB had an air about themselves. I loved Canadian International School. I loved the hospitality, how welcoming the staff was, and they just didn't have an air about themselves that they were one of these international posh schools in Bangalore. People were more grounded, more welcoming, just the kind of environment that I wanted for my child. Boom, we went with Canadian International School, and I cannot wait for Ronnie to start his 8th grade from the 3rd of August this year. But now going back to the points that I spoke about, right? In terms of rating, CIS is rated as one of the best international schools in the country. The fact that they have IGCSE in your middle school and then IB for 11th and 12th is going to help Ronnie choose between go out for his higher education abroad. But if he is planning UPSC, he will return to India to write those exams. But if he doesn't, he can always look for a career abroad, or he can come back, join my business, whatever works for him. Then I'm extremely happy with the rating that Canadian International School has. I was also looking at facilities that they provide. I love that they have soccer, they have lawn tennis, they of course have swimming, they have archery, they have music, they have art, theater, drama. So there's so much, and their entire class routine is based in a way that everything is incorporated. And I also love their class structure. Like they have 4 teaching daily blocks, but it'll be confusing if I get in depth about that, right? So but end of the day, it just fits my criteria in terms of everything that I needed as far as facilities are concerned. The boarding facility helps us because Ronnie is a kid who I cannot keep an eye on. I'm not the strict type, so it gets difficult for me to manage a teenager. So I think the best environment for him is a boarding, and this school does provide boarding as well as day facility. The school apparently has a rich heritage of 22 years for promoting an international education in Bangalore. It was one of the first international schools in Bangalore to get the IB board to the country. They provide an international environment. They have adopted an international curriculum, the Cambridge curriculum from kindergarten to grade 10, and IB for 11th and 12th. So they have from kindergarten till 12th grade. Their entire community is students from 40 different nationalities. Like I love that inclusivity. I love that culture for Ronnie right now. Ability to forge global connections from a very young age, which helps them later when they're applying for Ivy League colleges. So the school also celebrates multiple festivals, like they celebrate Japanese Children's Day, Korean New Year, Diwali, along with the entire CIS community. So they're very inclusive. They learn bilingually, English being the primary language in the school. The school also gives you an option to choose between Spanish, French, Mandarin, Hindi, English, or any mother tongue language. Fantastic. Ronnie chose French, by the way. I love the school policies in CIS. I know they have anti-bullying, anti-violent, they're very well protected family, close-knit space, and that is going to give Ronnie that homely feeling that assures me as a parent. Definitely one of the most important things that we have to consider was the food provided, because my kid is a foodie. He's a foodie, so when I took him to the school, the first thing he checked was how many times he was going to get chicken in the week. He loves his food. Nutrition-wise, it was all correct. He was getting all kind of nutritions he needs at this age to grow and eat. So they have a great cafeteria for boarding. They're very clean, hygienic. They have a great nutritional plan for all the kids to grow. You have literally everything that you can think of for your child. Again, for more information, just literally feel free to go to their website. It's going to list out every single thing that they have. As far as fee structure is concerned, why don't I give you guys exact numbers? It's going to be slightly shocking, but so their fee structure for 2023-24 for students of Indian origin. So I'm going to talk about the grade that Ronnie is going, that is middle school. Grade 6 to 8 is 10,65,000 without taxes. It's just a tuition fee. And if you choose to opt for boarding for an AC double occupancy, it is 2,10,000 per year. So that's about 13 lakhs already. And then they have this one-time fee of about 1,67,000 for the first year. So you're looking at about 14 to 15 lakhs for the first year. And then it comes down to about 12 lakhs a year for boarding. I mean, I'm not going to justify this because I know that schools shouldn't be that expensive. but life is difficult. It entirely depends on what you have planned for your child along with what your child is good at. It shouldn't always be what you are planning for them, right? And that's one of the major things that I appeal to every Indian parent. Please don't decide for them. I think it's just such a burden and such a baggage for so many children in our country that, you know, there's so many kids killing themselves in today's world. I know that there were those 2 suicides in this engineering college and it breaks my heart. I mean, if the kid wants to be a DJ or even a bartender or even a housekeeper for that matter, and if that's what gives him happiness and that's what he or she is good at, let the kid be. I am teaching that to my child, that every job is respectful, and as long as we work hard and we have a job, I think we will survive. Even when I was choosing the education board, it was not what I wanted out of Ronnie. It was what Ronnie was good at, and that is why Mindler Career Counseling came into the picture. Last but not the least, before I go away, please pay a visit. I know that all these websites have 3D images and videography to see the entire infrastructure, but I will always say pay a visit. You get a real vibe of how the teachers are. You get to see students around, so you have a vibe of what kind of students come there, what kind of attitudes they have. Talk to people, check if the place is safe and secure for your kid. I think it's extremely important to make sure that your kid is not going to a school that is conservative. Personally, my choice. I would not send Ronnie to a conservative school where his every action is judged. I feel like the school should blend its conventional ways of teaching with modern techniques for students to be updated with technology. It shouldn't just be like, oh, bookworm, just read your book, and theory-based doesn't work very well. Learning by doing is always something that works better for kids. So I will send Ronnie not to a very traditional school where they just believe in mugging and writing and no foundational approach and no learning by doing approach, no experiential learning, because I don't remember half of the things I studied in my school because I was a muckpot. Finally, last but not least, talk to the alumni, right? You talk to ex-students or teachers. Luckily for me, for Canadian, one of the ladies who works for Miss Momo, Priyanka is here, she's smiling. Her cousin works for Canadian International School. So I had first-hand genuine feedback. So that helped me. Somebody was giving this feedback, not because you're paying them money, literally genuine feedback. And talk to seniors who has passed out. Just look at where students are placed today, who has passed out of the school maybe 10 years or 5 years ago. What kind of careers have they chosen? So these are my 2 cents of kind of choosing the right school for anybody who is planning middle school. So I hope you find the right school for and it's not that it has to be a fancy, international, highly paid school. No, I came from one of the most normal schools in the world called Sacred Heart in Assam and went to Christ College for the rest of my education. Very simple schools and colleges, but look at me. So it's never about, I think, only the school. It's a mixture of everything. The support you give your kid and the kind of matching it with their natural abilities, letting them decide for themselves. Extremely important. I wish you all great schools for your children, and I hope that each one of them thrive and do the best in their lives, because children are so special and they deserve the best. But until I see you on another one, I hope this was informative and you liked what you heard. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell in case you know when my next episodes are coming out. I love you guys. I wish you great education, amazing wisdom, and I hope that India becomes one of those countries which continues to generate the best intellectual kids in the world. See you guys on another one. Bye.
Cat is fine, but the butthole is red.
So when we can take video shots of this when I'm talking about Ronnie's education.
Yeah,
Ronnie's
we can use this.
Nothing, the biscuits.